How you doing? How you guys doing this morning? Okay. How you guys doing this morning? Yes. Okay. Yes. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Misha Lee. Thank you so much for joining me. The world to me is my life. He's everything that I hope for. He's everything that I need. How you guys doing this morning on Facebook? Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you guys for coming on here. Make sure you share, start a watch party so that everybody can join us. Yes, good morning. Good morning. I'm only going to be on here for a short while. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Mojo Show. I'm super excited to be here this morning, you guys. This is Fred Hammond in the background. Jesus is all that I need. Listen, patience is a virtue and it requires work, guys. It requires work. Yeah, I know we don't like to think about things. Thank you so much, Fred. I know oftentimes we don't like to think about the things that we have to do in life, especially when it comes to, right now where we are in a very, very challenging time. Most of us have never, ever, never, ever, ever, never, ever been in a situation like this before. Hey, over there on Instagram, I appreciate you coming through. Most of us have never, ever been in a situation like this. Good morning, everybody. I appreciate you coming by. Y'all make sure y'all say good morning. Y'all know it feels really weird for y'all to be over here and not speaking to me. So just say good morning. Hey, Uncle Paul. Hey, Jimmy. So listen, patience is a virtue that requires work. Yes, you have heard it in your Sunday school class. You've heard it at church. You've heard it in every way possible. People always telling you patience is a virtue. And usually when you hear patience is a virtue, it's exactly when you don't want to hear it. I mean, you are in the middle of the whole situation and you're not trying to hear about patience being a virtue. You don't want to hear about nothing. All you want to hear about is how we're going to fix this. How am I going to get out of this situation? How in the world is this situation going to get better for me right now at this place in my life? How is it going to get better? How am I going to feel better? How am I going to get over this loss? How am I going to get over this need? You got bills that's due. You got things that you need to take care of for your family. The only thing you can see right now when people holler, "Oh, patience is a virtue," is that okay? I get that, but I need what I need. So it's a few things that I want to share with you that I've learned about patience being a virtue. And let me tell you something. Good morning, I'm Missy, Miss Goodens, Tony's wife. Good morning, good morning. Thank you so much for speaking to me. Patience is a virtue that requires work. And the reason I wanted to share this is because I think that in life, I know for me, when I thought about patience as a virtue, I thought, okay, this is just a mindset. I need to just be patient. I need to stop worrying. I need to stop, thinking about what I'm thinking about. I need to just not even worry about it. It's going to come. Me being patient, don't complain, don't murmur and complain. Heard a lot of people say, don't murmur and complain, don't question God. Oh, let me tell you something. I ask God questions all the time. I ask him all. If you don't understand something, who better than the creator of the whole universe to go ask questions? So I'm not really sure in what context they were, asking. I don't think it's anything wrong with asking God questions because you're either going to ask him or ask somebody who don't know what they're talking about, and then guess what's going to happen? You're going to the situation to get worse. So when you talk about patience being a virtue, the word virtue is really interesting to me. The word virtue means behavior showing high moral standards. And in the world today, one thing we do lack is people in the right places with high moral standards. People who are in the places to make decisions. We have a shortage of people who are capable of making decisions with high moral standards as a support system or as the filter that they make these decisions through. So we most definitely understand that having high moral standards is a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's something admirable and it's something that you work towards. And we can get into the whole high moral standards in another session. But patience is a behavior. Virtue is a behavior showing, listen, a behavior showing high moral standards. So this doesn't mean that when you talk about being a virtuous woman or being patient is a virtue. This doesn't mean something that you wake up and, oh, she's always been that way. No, 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 no. You got to work to be that way. You're gonna have to refuse a whole lot of opportunities not to be virtuous in order to be virtuous. You're gonna have to choose a whole lot of thoughts. You have to cast down a whole bunch of thoughts. And hey Tika, how you doing? Hey Sierra, you got to cast down a whole bunch of things in order for you to be virtuous. So you don't get anointed virtuous because somebody lay hands on you. You don't get to be virtuous because your mom and them was virtuous. Being virtuous is a behavior. It clearly says virtue, a behavior showing high moral standards. So these are choices that we have to make. And if patience is a type of virtue, which means that patience is a moral standard, it's a standard. How much patience a person has is a part of their moral standards. People who have very high patience or high tolerance for things, that includes, good morning, Rosetta Bishop. When you talk about a person that has a lot of patience, that's one of the stronger virtues, or that's one of the stronger behaviors that they have. And so it's a few things that you need to think about while you're patient, because a lot of us are waiting for money, we waiting for relief, we waiting for help, we waiting for food stamps, we waiting for all kinds of things to come through. And unfortunately, those things are not flowing through. And I'm gonna tell you something, even outside of this COVID, some of us will wait for our children to get right, our husbands to get right, our wives to get right, our family members to get right. We waiting for people to do better. We've been praying, we've been believing God, we've been waiting for the situation, we've been waiting for the change to come, and the change ain't happened. But when you're waiting for the change, that wait that you're in is considered patient. That waiting room, when you're waiting for your next to come, when you're waiting for God to come through, that's the room of patience. Patience is a place. It is a choice that you have to make. You have to choose to be patient. You have to choose. Patience doesn't happen because you woke up in the morning and you say, okay, I got so much confidence that this is going to happen. No, you have to fight through that thing. It requires work, because there's going to be times when you're waiting for things that everything else around you is going to tell you it's never going to happen. And you're never going to get it, never going to get it. Y'all remember that song? You're never going to get it. Everything in your whole life will tell you that what it is that you want is never going to happen. Yeah, you see, this is a cup I got. I sell these. It says no weapon wins. And when you have to get in your mind that no weapon wins, you have to get in your mind, no weapon formed against me is going to prosper. That's part of the motivation that helps you make better choices when it comes to patience. So what is a bad choice when it comes? I'm in virtue. Patience is a virtue. And so I'm going to be very, very patient. I'm going to work on this particular virtue when it comes to patience. So, what are things that would try to throw you out of there whenever you wait for the government to send you your money and they're not sending it to you? That's something that you got to work on. When you're waiting to go get your hair done, I feel so bad for my clients because they are ready to get their hair done. But guess what? We have to be more concerned. I love doing hair. I love and I want to service them. And some of them have, I mean, I have like a membership where people, they pay me in advance to get these services done because I'm going to provide them these services. But we got to take care of our health. We got to make sure that Misha can be here next year and the year after next and the year after next, because we don't want Misha to get sick and not be able to come back to work. You hear what I'm saying? So it requires a lot of patience, but it requires work. What do we have to work on? We got to work on our attitude. We got to work on the way that we look at things. We got to work on how we treat people and the things that we expect, because if we are dealing and having patience towards a person, now that's very challenging, because not only do we have to make decisions based off of how we need to feel, we have to battle against the things that they got, that they going through, because we believe in for them to be different. So number one, how you behave while you wait matters. How you behave while you wait matters. When you are impatient, and you talk about patience being a virtue, how you wait while you're impatient matters. See, being patient is not about a word. It's not about being able to say, oh, well, I've just been waiting a really long time. If you've been waiting a really long time, you've been acting a monkey, cutting up, you ain't been patient. That's not patience. You're tolerating things. See, sometimes people don't realize that they're actually tolerating when they think they're being patient. No, you're trying to develop patience. You're trying to develop patience as a virtue. And sometimes patience is easier for some of us than it is others, but it requires work. If how you behave while you're waiting and believing God for these things, it matters, because your behavior can actually hold up your blessing. How you believe things to happen. If you're believing for your child to get right, you believe for your child to not be in the gang, to not be on drugs, to change the way that they're doing, how you directly interact with that child, how you behave to them, the things you say to them, all those things can help or hinder that process. Now, when you have kids that's out there and they're in a wayward way, It's frustrating. You get upset, you get mad, you'll say things to them out of anger, but you have to learn how to control that anger. You, even when they all the way out there, you still got to be able to speak life into them. Because if you're speaking destruction, if you're speaking death into them, if your behavior while you're waiting is destructive, you might hinder getting what you get, and you might not never get what you want. So your behavior has to be on top. Your expectations while you're waiting for something has to be steadfast and consistent. It's one thing to, I remember believing God for a car one year. Um, and I didn't know, I'm not a car type person. So I'm not that person that's got like a whole list of cars that I want to own, or a whole list of cars that, that 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 I want to be flossing in. To me, if it's nice, neat, clean, and it looks good, and I like how it looks on me, then I'm fine with the car. I'm fine with it. But I remember during this time, I had to walk. I had to walk. I had to walk to my doctor's appointments. I remember having to push me. I was pregnant and I had a doctor's appointment. I had my daughter in an umbrella stroller, and it was raining, and I couldn't find anybody to give me a ride. And I knew people who had cars. I literally asked some family members, and they wouldn't take me because they didn't feel like going out because it was raining. But I had a doctor's appointment. So I had to walk from the house all the way across town with my little baby and pregnant to make a doctor's appointment. So what boy, that bring back memories. And that easily could have turned my relationship with that person sour. It easily could have turned me sour. It could have made me bitter. It could have done a lot of things. But what it did do, it made me appreciate once I was able to get a car. I praised God the whole way there. I kept my baby covered with umbrellas so she didn't get wet, had her covered up all good. But sitting back, it's just really sad that that people were behaving the way they were. But that's just how people are. But the nails look bad. But the thing that I had to realize is that no weapon wins. So in that walking in the rain, pushing my baby, not having anybody to give me a ride across town, I learned that my expectations had to stay the same. I couldn't murmur and complain in that situation because I could have held myself up. Now I could have took that fuel and got really mad about the situation, went out and bought me cars and been flossing and talking junk to the people that wouldn't give me a ride. But what does that build? What does that build? Because at the end of the day, once I finally got my car, that same person looked at me shocked because they couldn't believe what I was driving. That same person looked at me in amazement, like, wow, she really did do something. Like, you can't stop me from doing what it is that I'm supposed to be doing in the progress. So, what your expectations are while you are patient matters. How you do how you do what you do while you wait. What do you do? Excuse me, what do you do while you wait? A lot of us, when we in the process of being patient, or when we waiting for something, a lot of us, hey Carrie, how you doing? We get very frustrated. We get very frustrated. We have attitudes. We get tempers. We walking around. We don't want to have speak to people. We look at people, and this is where a lot of envy and jealousy is born. This is where a lot of people get jealous and envious. We walking around, rolling our eyes at people, looking at people sideways. I don't know how she got there. I don't know why he driving that kind of car. That car too expensive. That's what people do. When you hear people doing that, that's people who don't understand that while they're waiting for their next, that what they should be doing is plotting out what I'm going to do once I get mine. See, have you ever been waiting for something to happen and you done waited so long that when it finally happens, you're like, okay, now what? You know why? Because in that waiting period, you should have been planning what it is that you're going to do. In that waiting period was the time that you should have been trying to figure out when I get this, what I'm going to do with it next. When this money comes, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with the money? Hey, Cheyenne. Hey, Anthony. Hey, Lawanda. What are you going to do with it? You have to put yourself in a space. You have to put yourself in a space where when you in this waiting period, when your time come, when the blessing come, when the people get right, when your children act right, when the relationship get right, you have to put yourself in a space that when it does happen for you, you already know what you're going to do next. Because a lot of you will get lost in the sauce. I done got lost in the sauce so many times. Patience is a virtue. I've been working my patience. I've worked on my behavior. My expectations are high because I know it's going to happen for me. I know God going to come through for me. But then when he finally do come through for me, I'm in a place where I'm just kind of like, well, I mean, I got it now. What am I going to do with it? What happens when that husband start acting right? What are you going to do? What happens when that wife do everything you want her to do? What you gonna do? You think that, oh, when I did, no, it ain't like that. You have to have a plan for the next thing that you're supposed to be doing. What will you do when you receive it? Is the last thing that I want to share with you. The moment that everything that you've been patient for comes together, the moment that everything that you've been believing God for, that you've been focused on, the moment that everything comes to head, the moment that that check hits your hands, what are you going to do with it? You have to make sure that you do something, that you handle things responsibly, that you don't put yourself in a place where you're in lack again, that you don't put yourself in a place where you're missing out on the things that you've been waiting for so long. Sometimes you can wait for situations for so long that when it finally happens, the joy that you thought you was going to have when you got it, it ain't really there. You just kind of like when I went and finally bought my Suburban, I always wanted one just like that. Like the day that I bought it, I was just kind of like, oh, okay. Well, I got it. And I looked at it and went in the house. And that was it. Because my expectations, I had not maintained the level of expectations, and I didn't think about what I wanted to do with it when I got it. I know that I wanted it. I knew I was going to have it, so I went and got it. But once I got it, I'm just kind of like, it took me a minute to get myself together to realize, okay, girl, shake yourself. You believe for this. You really did it. You got it. You can pat yourself on the back now. You can say, you can be excited because I didn't build up my expectations high enough. I didn't and keep them maintained. I didn't put myself in a place where I understood once I got what I was believing for, how I was going to use it. I eventually developed a plan and it ended up working out very well for me. But once I received it, I kind of lost my momentum. So you want to keep your momentum. You want to keep your same plan. You want to keep your same focus. Make sure that you do these things, guys, and stay focused. I'm telling you, every morning that I get up and I look at this cup when I'm drinking, at this cup, it says no weapon wins, no weapon wins, no weapon wins. And it always remind me that everything that I'm fighting for, everything that I'm believing for, everything that I'm waiting for comes with a price. It comes with a price. It's not, nothing is free. Anything that you get free, you don't appreciate. Anything that you don't work for, you kind of take it for granted. So this whole thing of everything that you're waiting for right here while you're impatient, understand this is working something out in you, is working in your favor. You just got to make sure that you maintain the right attitude, the right behavior. Don't be mad. Don't take it out on your family. Take it out on your kids. Don't get upset. Don't get depressed. Work to keeping your work. Keep yourself in a positive mindset. It's easy to slip into depression and to trigger all kinds of things when you're in a house like this and get cabin fever. I know you're frustrated about a lot of things that you're not used to being able to do without used to doing certain things. But you have to be patient because guess what? At the end of the day, your patience is going to pay off for you. It's going to be a blessing to you. It's going to be a blessing to you and everybody that you know. So I hope that was helpful to you guys. I love you. I got to run, got to do it really short this week. It's been super busy. I missed you guys yesterday, but I'll see you in the morning for your morning mojo. Make sure that you stay patient and work hard.